Hello, everybody. I wanted to just real quick do a review of Oppenheimer. I saw it last night. As some of you may have noticed, I did post about it last night briefly, but I wanted to kind of just allow my thoughts to marinate and to really kind of hone what I wanted to say about the film because when I came out of the screening last night, I was just stunned. I was just really moved by the film, and I really wanted to give it a good night's thought. So Oppenheimer, obviously, you all know, is out now. It opened last night. It's Christopher Nolan's latest film, and it's probably his most ambitious project to date. It's a biopic of the famous theoretical physicist J. Robert Oppenheimer, and obviously about the creation of the atomic bomb and all of the behind the scenes that went into getting that thing made and creating the secret laboratory in New Mexico, and the kind of behind the scenes politics and the inner workings of the government and the military, getting the clearances to get all these scientists there and to really be able to put all these brilliant minds together in one place and to create the atomic bomb, which became obviously the two fat boy and little boy, fat boy and little man, right? Is that what it was? That obviously were the ones that were dropped on Hiroshima and Nagasaki. So yeah, like I said, I came out of the screening and I was just floored. I was just sitting there, just in awe of what I just saw. I haven't really had an experience like that at the movies in a while, quite a long time, where the credits roll, the music swells, and you're just sitting there. I just sat for a good, let's say 2, 3, 4 minutes, just taking it all in and letting it wash over me. And I really was just amazed. Never doubt Christopher Nolan. He has been one of my favorite filmmakers ever since Memento came out. And I've followed his career and seen all of his films in the theater, with the exception, I think, of I think Memento I didn't see in the theater, but I think I've seen all his other films in the theater. And then his first film following, which was a black and white film, $6,000 feature that he made before Memento, that I saw at home as well. Obviously, that wasn't playing in theaters anywhere near me. That was in the UK. But just to watch his evolution as a filmmaker has been astounding. And he's become like, the fanboy's favorite filmmaker, as they say. Everybody just loves the guy because, obviously he gained a lot of fans for the genre filmmaking he made with the Dark Knight trilogy. But he's just never disappointed. Although his past two films I haven't loved as much, Dunkirk and Tenet. I was a little disappointed in both those films. Dunkirk was a good movie, but he did a lot of time shifting that I just kind of felt wasn't necessary. And then Tenet was just way too out there. I actually really should revisit both those films and give them another viewing because I've only seen each one once in the theater. I think they deserve another viewing, and I would definitely will do that. But here he's returned to form and has crafted an astounding movie. It is chock full of ideas and nonstop dialogue and just these very captivating, not confusing, but very complex scenes of just a lot of information being thrown at you. So you really got to pay attention. But it's not too over your head. He keeps it at a level that most people can follow. But it's a very deep, in-depth film with a lot of themes, a lot of very important subject matter, obviously, and just acted to perfection. With from the top, with Cillian Murphy playing Oppenheimer in a career best performance, to Robert Downey Jr. to a career best performance. Basically, they're the two leads in the film. They're the two narratives that flow throughout the film in different time periods. It's not a crazy jumping in time, but it definitely goes to a present, which is like the 50s during McCarthyism. Then it jumps back to the early days of Oppenheimer, and then a lot of the early foundations of the Roswell, New Mexico project, the Manhattan Project, as it was known. So it kind of jumps in three periods, but not crazily. Like the early days of Oppenheimer is pretty much in the beginning of the film, the first hour. And then we're mostly in the New Mexico segment, and then the post New Mexico segment that's in the 50s which a lot of that is in black and white. A lot of the Robert Downey Jr. scenes are black and white. But they are the two kind of main leads that run throughout. And then all the other supporting characters that come through. Like Matt Damon, he's a general that's tasked with shepherding this whole project, and he's excellent. Emily Blunt plays Robert Oppenheimer's wife, and she's great. And just so many character actors pop up throughout the film in either small roles or decent sized roles throughout. A lot of faces you're going to recognize. There's some really awesome one scene roles by some pretty big actors as well. I'm not going to spoil it. I would say don't look at the IMDb credits. Just let the movie tell its story. And you'll be like, oh my God, he's in this. Oh, he's in this. Oh, wow, look who it is. I was just like, Nolan must have been like, when he picked up the phone, get everybody. Everybody's in this movie. It was kind of like one of those things where like, wow, look at how many people have just wanted to be a small part of this film. Which brings me to my next point. If somebody is looking for an idea of what's the vibe of the film, narratively, what is it like? It's the closest film that I've seen in a long time that is similar to the narrative flow of JFK, which is one of my all-time favorite films. Oliver Stone's, obviously, 1991 film. And that was chock full of actors in small roles, cameos, but good roles. This is kind of like that. It's that level. It's on par. It can be on the same shelf as JFK, in my opinion. It's a very mature film for Nolan, a very intelligent film, captivating, thrilling. I mean, for a movie that's mostly expositional dialogue, man, is it keep you on the edge of your seat. And then once we get to the buildup of the first test of the bomb, is incredible. The sound design is amazing. The music is so captivating. It's the second film scored by the composer Ludwig von something, who did Tenet as well. Really good. Because Nolan's go-to composer, Hans Zimmer, was not available. He was doing the two Dune movies, ironically, at the same time. So he wasn't available to do Tenet or this. But this guy's amazing, and this music is awesome. I'm predicting this film is going to be the one to beat at the Oscars. It's going to be nominated for Best Picture, Best Director, Best Adapted Screenplay, Best Actor for Cillian Murphy, Best Supporting Actor for Robert Downey Jr., maybe Best Supporting Actress for Emily Blunt, possibly, or maybe even Florence Pugh, who's got a prominent role in this film as well. I could see a possible nomination for Matt Damon, but I'd rather see him nominated for Best Actor for Air, because he was fantastic in that film. But this film is going to be the one to beat come Oscar time. It's the movie of the year for me. I'm going to see it again. Now, I didn't see it in IMAX. I went to the AMC Prime Theater at Willowbrook, which is kind of like a Dolby, where it's like intense sound, beautiful seating, great screen. I had perfect seating right in the middle. It was great. Beautiful screening last night. I would have went to an IMAX had IMAX, by me, had the 70 millimeter presentation, which is the ideal way to do it. It was shot in 70 millimeter IMAX. That, unfortunately, is only like in New York City and a few other places. It's not in Jersey anywhere. I'm not going to go to the cities just to see a movie. I'm sorry. So I didn't go see it in IMAX because that would have just been a traditional digital presentation. Now, I must note the Garden State Plaza in Paramus does have a 70 millimeter print of this film, but it's not going to be in IMAX the way it's intended. It's going to be in some crappy little theater, because when they released Quentin Tarantino's Hateful Eight in 70 millimeter, we bought those tickets opening night. My friends and I did not know that they were going to stick us in the small, crappy little theater in the back. I was really upset. Tarantino would have been upset had he known that his movie was going to be shown in some crappy little screen. So unless it's an IMAX, don't bother doing the 70 millimeter print. And I must say, one thing that's interesting about this movie, like I said, the whole movie was shot at IMAX, meaning not just segments. In previous Nolan films, segments of the film were shot in IMAX. This, the whole film was. Even the black and white was shot in IMAX. They had to develop special IMAX cameras to shoot black and white. So that's really astounding, because they wanted the black and white footage to look the same as the color. And it's crisp. It's perfect. It's just an unbelievable cinematic experience. I cannot recommend it highly enough. This must be seen on screen, on the big screen, in the theaters. Don't see this movie at home, at least for the first time. Go see it. It's going to just floor you. It's 3 hours and it flows. I was never bored. I wanted more. I could have sat for a fourth hour. I was that engaged in this film. Blew me away. So impressed. Lived up to the hype. Fantastic. It's just unbelievable. It has to be seen. It is the movie of the year, if not the movie of the past 20 years. Absolutely astounding. Believe the hype on Oppenheimer. It is one of a kind, and it is excellent. Cillian Murphy kills it. This man lived on an almond a day for like 57 days of shooting to be that rail thin, emaciated look that Robert Oppenheimer had. The real guy apparently barely ate, and he just lived on cigarettes, a pipe, and martinis. So Killian really immersed himself in this role. And I'm amazed this movie took only 57 days to shoot. All practical effects, too. There was no CGI in this movie. It's amazing. Go see it. I highly recommend Oppenheimer, as I said before. You will love it. Fantastic. Go see it. That's my review.